Hi everyone, today I'm going to tell you about the movie Lost Girls in Love Hotels. A young and attractive American woman named Margaret comes to Tokyo to teach English pronunciation to Japanese stewardesses. By day, she teaches English at the flight academy, and in the evenings she meets in a bar with her friend Inessa and her buddy Liam. On one of these evenings, Margaret starts making out with the first Japanese man she meets while waiting for her turn to use the restroom, but then returns to her friends, suggesting that they go off in search of adventure. Left alone with Margaret, Liam starts hinting to the girl that they could have a good time together, but Margaret blows him off, saying that the guy is like a brother to her. In the street, a car pulls up next to the girl. The man behind the wheel takes a long look at Margaret and then drives away. The girl suddenly tells her friends that it is time for her to go to the hotel where she rents a room. On the way, Margaret enters another bar, where she meets a young Asian man with whom they go to a love hotel that offers hourly room rentals. Taking off her new friend's belt, Margaret slips it around her neck and asks the Asian man to tighten the noose tighter. Hearing the girl start coughing, the guy lets go of the belt as he can't keep this up. In the morning, Margaret rushes to class, a little late. Her mentor, understanding perfectly well what is the matter, says that the girl needs to take the day off, as she seems to have caught a cold. On her way home, Margaret stops by a bookstore, where she meets Kazo, the man who had pulled up next to her in a car the day before. When she asks him what he is looking for, the Japanese man gives Margaret a look and leaves. The girl goes after him and they arrive at the Love Hotel, where Margaret asks for her hands to be tied. Kazo is a little embarrassed, but still complies with the girl's request. After intimacy, Margaret goes to the bathroom, and when she comes out, the Asian has already disappeared. As evening falls, the girl again goes to meet her friends, who by her happy eyes realize that Margaret finally tasted Japanese pepper. The next day after class, Kazo expects Margaret and offers to have lunch together. The couple arrives at a nice restaurant before entering, which Kazo removes his shoes, covering his holy socks. Margaret suggests they go elsewhere. The couple have a nice conversation until they are accidentally jostled by an elderly Japanese man. The girl isn't bothered by this, but Kazo remains on edge. When Margaret leaves to go to the restroom, Kazo walks over to the table where the same elderly Asian man was sitting. Back at the table, Margaret notices that the noisy group sitting at the neighboring table has disappeared. After grabbing a bite to eat, they head back to the Love Hotel. After sex, Kazo confesses that he has a fiancé and will soon get married, which saddens Margaret. After packing her things, the girl goes home. In the morning, she rises with difficulty after last night, when she went with her friend Inessa to a nightclub. At the academy, Margaret has one last class before the flight attendants take their exams. One of her students holds out a gift-wrapped book to her. It's the Kama Sutra, with a business card of the Love Hotel, passed down from Kazo. Meeting the man once again, Margaret asks if he cut off anyone's finger, since the tattoos on his body have to do with criminality. The man explains that a finger is cut off by someone who has done something wrong. Every time he looks at the cut, he will remember what he has done. Margaret immediately wonders if Kazo loves his future wife. According to him, he feels devotion, but it is not love in the usual sense. However, in this world, one cannot be alone. As evening falls, Margaret goes to the nightclub to her friends again. Liam introduces the girls to his friend Louise, about whom neither Margaret nor Inez he had previously told anything. In the morning, Margaret is met at the flight academy by Kazo, who has a gift for her, new socks. The man invites Margaret to take a ride on the train. Her charges have pronunciation exams today, but Margaret grudgingly agrees to go. At the zoo, the man takes Margaret to a Buddha temple where, according to legend, one can be reborn into a new person. Leaving the temple, Keijo utters that today is Margaret's birthday. The couple returns back to Tokyo. Tired, Margaret falls asleep on the train. And when she wakes up, she finds that Keijo is not there. The next day, the girl learns that the flight academy has found a replacement for her. Nakamura hands her an envelope with her last paycheck. Margaret tries to justify herself, but the mentor does not want to listen to anything. After gathering her things, Margaret heads for the exit, silently saying goodbye to the Japanese woman who ran out to her, saying she would miss her. Margaret meets Inessa, who confesses that she will soon leave Japan for good. Left all alone, the girl makes new lovers, trying to dull the pain inside. One day, walking through the city, Margaret accidentally notices Kazo. The man sees off his fiancée, after which he heads to the hotel. Margaret follows him, but once inside, she loses him. She starts knocking on the rooms and calling for Kazo. Seeing this on the security cameras, the man grabs her and brings her to the security room. Margaret confesses her love for him. Unable to hold back, Keijo starts kissing her, after which they make love right in the security room. Back in her room, Margaret finds an eviction notice. With no other options, she decides to take a job in a brothel. On her first shift, she is supposed to serve wealthy Japanese men with other girls, but Margaret gets drunk and falls asleep in the restroom. In utter despair, Margaret smokes outside, where she is spotted by Louise, Liam's girlfriend. Louise informs her that Liam has been deported from Japan due to an expired visa. Seeing Margaret's depressed state, Louise invites her in for a bite to eat. In the evening, Margaret walks around the city again. She's followed by an elderly Asian man from whom she tries to escape in the subway. Thinking she has lost him, Margaret stops to smoke, but hears the sound of a lighter behind her. Turning around, she sees the same Japanese man who has been following her. They go to the Love Hotel, and it seems that this Asian man is not surprised by Margaret's BDSM tendencies. On the contrary, he orders her to undress and then ties her to the bed. He declares that her proclivities do not make her special, and sitting next to her on the bed, pronounces that he could easily kill her now. Margaret herself begs him to end it soon. At that moment, Kazo bursts into the room and frees Margaret. A finger is missing on his right hand, signaling his atonement to his fiancée. Margaret leaves Japan. From the plane, she calls Keijo and tells him that she really feels reborn now. He replies that he is glad to hear that. Turning around, Margaret notices the flight attendant, a Japanese woman from the very group she taught English to. They smile, recognizing each other. This is the end of the movie.